don't own me. You don't own me.
Who wants to introduce it? What are we calling it?
Hello, sweetie, video movie review.
Oh, that's a video movie review.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay.
This is we're going to this Hello Sweetie podcast, and we are doing a frequently asked questions about Suicide Squad.
Maybe you've heard of it.
Maybe.
I haven't.
Maybe you've had questions. Maybe we're going to answer them here today.
Yep.
So, one of the questions that some of our listeners were posting about is, do they need to be familiar with the DC universe in order to follow this movie?
Honestly, I think that, you need to have like a vague idea who some people are, but they introduce so much, like all the rest of the characters pretty well.
I don't think you need to be
Like
familiar.
you need to know who the Joker is.
You do need to have seen Batman vs. Superman. You need to be familiar with Batman.
Joker.
I agree that you need to see Batman v Superman first.
I would say 4 out of 4 sweeties say be vaguely familiar with it.
Yeah, you don't need to
Be
read
aware.
the comics or anything like
Yeah.
that, but you need to at least have some idea who certain people
You
are.
need to know what a movie is.
Yeah, know what a movie is, where to find them,
Yeah.
and how they work.
Yeah.
Okay, now speaking of how movies work, did you find this movie to be confusing? Did you think there's a lot of critics that have been saying it wasn't coherent, and there wasn't a reason to form a Suicide Squad to begin with,
They explain
It
why
was
they
a test run.
right? So they did kind of explain why.
Yeah, they explain why, the very beginning when Amanda Waller meets with some government officials and is like, all right, this is what I want to do, and this is why.
Yep.
And don't want to give it away, but yeah, she flat out explains why she's building it, and the group is honestly just built as a backup. And then something happens in the movie that causes them to actually be needed.
So and she does explain at the beginning, she's like, we live in a world of metahumans. We need to make sure we have some on our side that are going to fight for us.
They do literally have a scene that explains the whole thing. What if Superman flew to the White House, tore off the roof, and murdered the president?
Yeah.
We need a team to fight that.
Yeah, and I think that although I do agree that it has some editing issues in places that do make the storyline a little bit confusing to follow in some places, I was able to figure it out. It was only confusing for me for a few minutes, and then I was like, oh, okay, this is what they did.
So if you're not dumb,
we totally went to our friend who was very confused about it.
So again, Hello Sweeties, an astounding, sorta.
In the episode, we even talk about how they did have editing issues because DC Comics, their film executives went through and they did a bunch of changes last minute. So I think that unfortunately made the film suffer a smidge, but
yeah. So it is a little bit confusing in spots, I would say, but for me, it didn't take away from my overall enjoyment of the film.
I think another frequently asked questions, or a lot of people that are discussing, is the Joker. Now, do you guys feel that Jared Leto pulled this Joker off well? And then second part to this question is there a previous incarnation of the Joker that you would say this one is similar to?
You know what? I don't like his Joker, but I do think that he pulled it off well. It's a completely different take on the Joker than we've really seen. It's probably closer to Jack Nicholson's without being as crazy.
Okay.
because he is like Jack Nicholson's in that he is like a mob boss and he has an agenda and he's not just crazy Joker running around doing crazy Joker stuff.
Right, and I think that in that universe, I felt like the Joker worked very well. I definitely think that it has some elements of maybe the animated series Joker a little bit, or maybe what I would interpret as how I read the Joker in comic books. But I think that, like you said, it was a completely different take on the Joker, and I personally do think Jared Leto did a good job of bringing his version of Joker to the screen.
Yeah, and I would agree. He did a good job at bringing his version of the Joker to the screen. There were a couple parts that took me away, and I was like, not so much. But the one part that sold me, and I talk about it on the episode, is when he makes the guy kiss his ring, and he's like, I can tell you meant that. And I was like, all right, sold. He was into it. He was selling his incarnation of the Joker. So, again, we'd all say, sorta?
Sorta.
Sorta. Sorta. Suicide Squad.
Frequently asked sorta.
Sorta. Those are our answers. Astounding.
Sure.
Now, I think our last frequently asked question that we're going to cover is, which character did you feel needed more screen time?
Killer Croc! Why is Killer Croc in the movie?
They explain it in the beginning.
Did you see the movie? He literally has one thing to do though.
Yeah.
No, he kicks some ass.
At
Like,
the end.
No, he does during other things. He is fighting.
But I guess like
And
same
he looks
could
good
be
doing
said.
it.
Same could be said for Captain Boomerang. Like,
Well, I was gonna say Captain Boomerang. I loved him. I thought he was great as the sort of comic, maybe not comic relief, but the sort of the Loki impish chaos character that was just sort of there, and I loved him. I would have liked to see more of him, but I don't necessarily feel like he didn't get enough screen time.
For sure.
I just liked him.
For sure.
I think we needed to see more Enchantress, more
yeah.
what she was. Yeah, her backstory, but what more, without spoiling it, but what her motives were.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, I
They
understand
do
that.
explain her motives though.
I
A
mean,
little
a little
bit.
bit, but like, you know,
There were
I mean,
definitely parts missing with that, though.
Sure.
maybe
There's-
didn't
yeah.
feel like you could understand her villain story arc,
Yes,
her villain
yeah.
journey as much as you understood the.
So I
story
guess
The
arc of
doctor,
others.
the doctor absolutely had enough.
yes.
Because like you will learn in the first 5 minutes, Enchantress is actually a spirit inhabiting a woman named Dr. June Moon,
Right.
and so like
You do get some of her
You get
backstory, but I
Dr.
didn't
June's
feel like we
backstory.
had a good. I mean,
I wanted the mythology of the Enchantress.
Yes, because and also like explain those dance moves at the end.
She's full of power.
And- but she was like jiggy. I don't know.
She
It
was
wasn't
very
really robotic.
jiggy.
She wasn't. Yeah, she wasn't flowy, but she wasn't robot. It was like a weird mesh of
Like
it.
the
Like
Enchantress?
either commit to the robot or commit to the like flowiness.
Ah, yeah,
She's
sure.
like.
I can dance if I want to.
I can leave my friends behind.
So you have some infrequently asked questions.
Oh, but
too.
I'm
Yes.
gonna say which.
Oh yeah.
I wanted more Katana. For
Yes,
sure.
Okay.
And I will always want more Harley Quinn because Harley Quinn is like one of my favorite characters, but I wanted more Katana. For sure. Less Rick Flag. He was great, but less.
Yeah.
He just wanted to get his dick wet by the love of
No, he loved her.
No.
He didn't want to
But I
just get
love-
his dick wet.
I wanted to get his heart wet.
It was so much more than the dick.
It's true.
All right.
His
Speaking
heart,
of-
his dick-shaped heart.
Yeah. So and now we have some not so frequently asked questions, but because we are all female podcast, we thought it's our social responsibility to kind of answer these questions.
Sure.
All right. So one question that I think we address, it's a good starting conversation point, is does this movie pass the Bechdel test?
Yes.
It
does.
does, yeah.
It
It does in the same way that Guardians of the Galaxy does.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything more than it does pass the test.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's a good movie or a bad movie. It's just you're
And those that are watching that aren't familiar with the Bechdel test, simply you have 2 or more female characters that have names that have talking interaction where they speak about something other than male.
Yeah,
lead
male
or
interest.
Yeah.
And then there's this other test that they do. I can't remember.
the Mako Mori test.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which adds to that. Is there something for them to do other than further a male protagonist storyline?
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe in this we did have a little bit of that element, but like
Because
I said, I would have liked to have had more of Katana's storyline and more of her backstory to develop that angle a little bit
For
more.
sure.
Yeah.
But it is, I feel like overall it's Amanda Waller's
Movie.
movie.
Yep, it is.
And
I
so
would say that.
yeah,
It's
so I
her
think it does pass the Mako Mori test because she makes decisions that further the plot.
Yeah. So I mean, again, sort of.
It's like the sort of yes.
Yeah, sort of. Yes, it
On a
does.
spectrum of sorta no to sorta yes.
It's more towards the
It's
yes.
very much closer to sort of yes.
Yeah,
Hello.
so I mean, I think too, like, this is going to lead us into our next question. And Deborah Jensen, our dear friend Deborah Jensen.
I love you,
posted-
Deborah.
She had posted how disgusted was she going to be with Harley Quinn.
Let me tell you, Deborah, I love you, but this fucking question just made me mad. But that's because like I have a really soft spot for Harley. She is definitely very sexual, and they do show that off, but she owns her sexuality. She is the Blanche Devois of this film.
Yeah, I think they do a really good job of showing the toxicity between her and the Joker, and showing that she is traumatized. She has been sort of brainwashed. She's definitely mentally ill, but they also kind of show the relationship in a way that shows that they have heart and real substance to the characters. So you kind of end up rooting for them, sort of like you kind of end up rooting for the lunatics to take over the asylum.
Yeah. And I would agree. I mean, how did you feel about Harley Quinn? Were you? I know that we.
I was aggravated with her outfit, and that's about it. I did like that she was a very independent woman in this movie, but I couldn't get on board with her booty shorts.
I couldn't get on board with her shoes.
Yeah, shoes were the only things that like I was kind of like,
Who's saving the world in Spice
Where was
Girls?
she keeping her gun?
Those were not walking shoes.
No.
Wow.
And she had holsters. She had holsters on the side. She took off her jacket and she had holsters.
Okay.
And I think too, as women, it's our job to also find things that we do love about those characters and talk about them.
Right.
And so they continue to make those characters in that light.
Right.
She is portrayed as property. There is a very specific scene where she is portrayed as property.
But I saw that scene as her being in on the joke because she's also making fun of the dude in that scenario.
Yeah, I
something like that.
I mean, but I think part of Joker, and like we've said before, it's a toxic relationship.
Right. You're not
But
supposed to
this
want to
is-
be these characters.
Yeah, but
this
this
is supposed to be your relationship goal.
Exactly, but this is Harley's story. This is Harley's journey.
And not everyone's story is gonna inspire you.
Yeah, or be a role model.
Or be a role model.
Yeah, maybe sometimes you just learn from their mistakes
Yeah,
and
they
say
can
like,
still be compelling characters even though you don't want to grow up to be just like
They
them.
inspire you to go the opposite direction.
yeah. Yeah, do we have final thoughts and our scores on this movie out of 5?
I loved it. I actually really, really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see it again. I thought it was a really fun, cyberpunky sort of mafia story take on it. I do think it suffered from some editing problems, and I did feel that confusion a little bit in places. But all in all, I highly recommend it. 4 out of 5 stars.
I would say I like that it's finally bringing together a DC cinematic universe and starting to get that ball kind of rolling and not take itself too seriously. I give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I think that the cast had amazing chemistry together. There's a Breakfast Club scene that seriously just really sold me on enjoying the movie. And because it was literally like the Breakfast Club. And like Harley's Bender. Which is like another thing I really like that there the most. Anyways, but yeah, I give it a 3 out of 5. I would totally see it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is not a critics movie, in case you guys haven't noticed. Like, I was a little worried the first few days because the fans hadn't gone and seen it, and it was getting horrible reviews. And I was like, did I see the wrong movie? Yeah, it was very. I wasn't confused by the movie. I was confused by reviews. What I was hearing.
Started to question your sanity.
Yeah, I started questioning like my taste in movies. I like the mutant turtles too. Like, where am I? But I think based even just solely on the soundtrack and the fun that I had, I'm giving it 3 out of 5.
Nice.
So
Cool.
Awesome. Well,
That's our video frequently asked question review.
I'm Charity.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Danielle.
and Crystal.
Check out our new episode Wednesday.
On Hello Sweetie Podcast.
Yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather. Unique New York, unique New York. M&M.
Bumblebee, bumblebee.
Okay.
What a bunch of a-holes.